Hustle Buddies. It's been a little bit since we've done one of these live videos. I wanted to hop on today. We're going to do just sort of like a Keepa Basics 101 type of video. There's a lot of new members coming into our Facebook group, a lot of new people watching our YouTube videos, and not everyone has seen all of our old Keepa videos. So I'm jumping back in doing a new Keepa video. This is geared mostly for beginners. I'm just sort of going to break down like what is Keepa, why you should use it, and then how to actually do it in your day-to-day sourcing. We have asked a number of people, and we've had friends ask lots of people, like what the most used tool, like most utilized tool in their tool belt. All of us Amazon sellers, we all have different tools that we prefer and like and use for different things. But across the board, I mean, by a landslide, Keepa across the board is consistently the #1 most utilized or most used or favorite or however you want to word it. Like no matter what the question is, Keepa is always at the top. It shows you so much useful information at a basic level. So it shows you if the item is selling, how much it's selling for, historically, if it sold, historically what it sold for. You can see if Amazon is selling it. You can see all of that stuff really fast, really quickly, just at a glance. And all of that is really useful, especially for a beginner, because when you're first starting, you don't want to be wasting all of your money on bad buys. Now, you're never going to completely avoid bad buys. I don't want to try to give you like the wrong impression. Even sellers like me, we still make bad buys. Everybody will make a bad buy occasionally. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you can't predict the future. But with something like Keepa, that you're able to sort of eliminate like 90% of those bad buys, of those purchasing errors, because you have so much data at your fingertips that you can extrapolate, that you can base your buying decisions off of. So we're going to hop in here. Hey, what is up, Logan? What's up, Vivian? So we're going to hop in here. If you guys don't yet have Keepa, make sure you sign up for that. There's like a little link. So bit.ly/HB Keepa. Let me write that in chat as well, so you can just copy and paste it for you guys. All right, there we go. So make sure that you guys are signed up for Keepa. Keepa has a free version and a paid version. The free version, I would say it's better to not use Keepa than to use the free version, if that makes sense. Because you're going to feel like you have knowledge, but you don't. So if you don't have the budget for Keepa, don't bother even trying the free version. It's going to confuse you and it's going to waste more of your time than it's worth. So it's either the paid version or nothing. Don't use the free version. Okay? Keepa is a web browser. They also have an app. It can also integrate with pretty much every scanning software out there. So for example, when I am in the store, I like using Scoutify 2 as my sort of scanning software. Keepa can integrate directly with Scoutify 2. So when I scan something, I just press the button to pull up Keepa and boom, there's Keepa right on my phone. There is an app. I don't personally like the app as much. There's some data that's missing from the app and some things that are a little bit misconstrued using the app. It's workable. So if you're not using anything like Scoutify or something else like that, you can use the Keepa app if you're in store. The one thing you should not be doing is sitting there typing in the like the whole UPC on your phone. Whether you're using the app and you can scan the barcode, or whether you're using something like Scoutify 2 where you scan the barcode and then you just flip it over to Keepa. That's really what we're looking for. Okay, so. And then if you're doing online arbitrage, it's even easier because you just go to keepa.com, you log in, and you can copy and paste your UPCs or whatever in there. And there's lots of extensions that you can buy to make it easier or whatever. But just at a basic level for the beginners out there, just open up keepa.com, punch your UPC over in there, and don't spend extra money where you don't need to. All right, so the basics of Keepa. Let me share my screen, and I will show you guys what we're looking at. So I'm going to show you what it would look like from a computer. If you're on your phone, it's going to look very similar. If you're looking at the app, it looks pretty similar. Most of like the graphs and lines and things, they're all accurate across the board, no matter how you're looking at this. So I'm just going to show you what I see on my computer. So I've pulled this up. This is a freebie for you guys. If you can find this at stores, if you can find like a buy one, get one free for this, this is usually pretty good to sell, or like the day after Thanksgiving. If you see these go on clearance, which they often do, get them. This is a consistent good seller. This has been a good seller for us for multiple years. So a free sort of like sale replan for you guys that you can look into. But anyways, so I pulled up the graph here. Now, when you're first jumping into this, a lot of beginners feel super overwhelmed. Let me just double check that you guys, yeah, you can see it. So a lot of people feel really overwhelmed. Oh, and by the way, if you have questions, since this is live, since I am sitting here with you guys, if you have questions about Keepa, you can drop them in the comment section. If you want me to look up a specific ASIN where you're like, I don't know if I should buy this, let me see what Nate thinks, drop that into the chat box and we can get to those as well. So beginner, when you first pull this up, a lot of times you feel really overwhelmed. You're like, oh my gosh, what are all these graphs? What are all these colors? What's all this mean? What do I need to look at? What do I not need to look at? All right. So we're going to take this to the most basic level. I am literally going to turn everything off so our graphs are empty. And let's just go through these one by one. So I would say probably the most important thing to look at is this sales rank. I would also recommend for you guys, you see there's a little button right there that does that. I would recommend having it so that 0 is at the bottom rather than 0 being at the top. 0 being at the top of graph doesn't make any darn sense. So flip it like that. This is how almost everybody looks at Keepa graphs. That's why we say there's a Keepa drop. If you're looking at it like this, a drop is going to be a spike, and that's going to confuse you. So make sure your graph looks correct. And really what the sales rank is where this item compares to every other item in that category. Does it directly correlate to a sale? Not usually, but it does give you an indication of how much usually something is moving. There are definitely exceptions to this, but as a general rule of thumb, it's safe to say that if the sales rank is moving around like this, then the product is selling. That's a safe assumption. All right. If you were to scan this and let's pop this out to like a year ago. I'm looking down here. Let's say you scanned this right here on this date and you see this is a grocery item ranked 75,000. If I scan something at 75,000 and I went to one of those like sales rank, not graphs, but the sales rank where it's like gives you the percentages and all that. I'd be like, all right, well, I might pick up a couple of those, maybe, I don't know, 5 of them because it's selling maybe like once a day or something like that. And if that's all you had to go off of, it's a little bit of data, but it's not a whole lot. If you were able to look at historically, like, okay, yeah, actually, usually this is ranked like 42, 50, 30, 29, 22, 25. When you see the sales rank changes, and when you see that historically, you know what, it's not usually ranked 76. It just happens to be that day. Maybe there's slow sales or something, or maybe something else went on crazy clearance and bumped all the other items up. But usually it's ranked much better. And then when we look more recently, you can see, okay, we're going into Christmas, we're going into Thanksgiving, these times when people are making the big roast turkeys, the big roast chickens, things like that. And you want to be able to inject your flavors. Like this is the time, if there's ever a time of year when people are using these flavor injectors, it's right now. It's going into Q4 when you're cooking for all your relatives and stuff. All right, so we can see the sales rank going down, which for the most part indicates more sales, okay? The one thing I do want to mention is don't bother looking at like the number of drops. So like if you're the type of person who's looking at this, or maybe you're looking at the app and you see, okay, number of drops, you can see there at the bottom where it says drops 90-day average. It's like, okay, drops 90-day average, 5 per month or 6 per month or 54 per month. All right, don't bother looking at that. That is this is part of the reason I don't like using the app, because it makes that really obvious. That is pretty much useless information. The number of drops is completely irrelevant. Once we're down here, when we're ranked like 1,000 in grocery, this is the 1,000th best-selling grocery item on Amazon. That means it's selling a lot. And it could very well have sold, let's just pretend, just for kicks, that this is selling 100 units a day. I'll kind of explain the sales rank here for a second. Let's say this is selling 100 units a day. So Amazon's algorithm sort of sets that at this rank of, all right, so this is selling 100 a day compared to everything else. That's the 1500th best selling item or whatever. All right. It could continue to sell 100 per day. I mean, heck, it could even, maybe even back here, we could even say maybe it's selling 100 per day back here. But then what's happening is other items could be selling more or less. So that's sort of where we get that sales rank number from. But yeah, we're going into Q4, so we know that, yeah, this is selling more. So looking at the sales rank is the first thing. When you're a beginner and you're trying to make your buying decision, it comes down to, you can really simplify it. It really comes down to just a couple things. Is it selling, and is it profitable? And then some people add, are you allowed to sell it? All right. So those 2.5 things are what you need to know. I've seen a lot of people recently in our Facebook groups say, hey, I found this awesome item, but it's not selling. Okay, so it's not an awesome item. Just because it's profitable doesn't mean it's selling. If it's not both profitable and selling, it's not good. You could find something where it's selling a ton. You're like, oh my gosh, I found this grocery item and it's ranked 1,000, but it's only selling for $7. How do I make profit on this? Well, you don't. That's not a good item. Okay, you didn't find a good item. It's got to be profitable and selling. So we're looking at this sales rank history to see, is it selling? For me personally, what I like to sort of look at when I'm training employees, things like that, I tell people, look for the movement in the sales rank. If it's moving, then it should be selling. So this, it's moving all around. It sort of looks like, I don't know, like a weird EKG, or maybe like a New York skyline or something like that. When you zoom in here, it sort of looks like a skyline. All right, this is moving, this is selling, that's great, okay? When it gets way down here, if the sales rank is really low, some people are like, well, it's not really moving. That's because the rank is so low, it just can't move as much anymore. It's still selling a lot, so keep that in mind. All right, so is it selling? Yes, this is selling. Now, we want to know, is this profitable? Okay, that's the second big thing. Now, I'm going to turn on a few different tabs here. So we're going to turn on Amazon. Let's turn on New. We'll turn on Buy Box. All right, I like those. For the most part, these are all going to be the same thing, usually, okay? So we can see here this like pink/blue line here. This is usually what this item is selling for. So between, let's say, about $24 to about $25. All right, pretty tight. There's not a huge variance in this right here. So if you're selling it for 27, yeah, you might get lucky, you might get some sales, but make sure that you're also profitable in case it drops down to like 25, 24. Okay, so if you're only making like 50 cents profit, this would be a skip. All right, so we can pull this up on Amazon if we want. We can look at it here. Keepa also will integrate if you download the Keepa extension, not this. Let me, how do I hide this? I'm not sure how to hide that. Don't bother with that. That's a different tool. This down here is what we're talking about, Keepa integrating. So you can see it right on your page. So is it selling? Yes. Is it profitable? I'm not sure. Let's say you're at the store. Now I was just at the store and they had these as a like buy one, get one for like $1 off. In years past, I've seen it as like buy one, get one free. So let me pull up a calculator real fast. Amazon has calculators. You can use like Scoutify if you're using Scoutify. Scoutify is a calculator. I use this AZ Insight as my calculator. I can post a link to that as well in the chat a little bit later. But there's lots of different ways to do this. For the sake of a beginner, I'm going to just sort of guesstimate, okay? So these are all, what are these, like 10 ounces or 8 ounces or something like that? So 8, 16, 24. So it's a little bit over a pound. Let's call this about 2 pounds. If I had to guesstimate the fees for something that was small but weighed about 2 pounds, I'd probably guesstimate around $10. All right, that's a pretty safe assumption. It might be $1 or $2 more, it might be $1 or $2 less, but around $10 is probably a decent rough estimate. Okay, so if we take the sale price of 27, we take away $10, we're left with $15, $16, $17 roughly. If you can get this for, say, $3 a bottle, so 3 times 3, $9. Okay, we'll take 15 minus our, so actually let me start over. So we got like a $26 sell minus about $10 in fees. Oops, I'm doing this backwards. All right, minus $10 in fees, and then minus, let's say $9 was our buy cost. You're making $7. You're paying $9, you're making $7. Boom, that's a slam dunk home run. I would be clearing the shelf at that. Okay, so that's sort of what we're looking at. That's the oops, where did it go? Those are the main two things that you're using Keepa for. If that's all you use Keepa for, then you're south. That's probably about 80% of the use of Keepa right there, is looking at the historical sales rank and the historical buy box or the new price or Amazon. Some people like to look at if Amazon is in stock. That's this yellow section right here. Personally, I don't care personally. I know lots of people say, oh, don't sell something if Amazon is selling it. I think that's a bunch of ridiculousness. If you want to listen to that, great. I don't listen to that. And I compete with Amazon all day, every day. So that's the main part. Now, if you want to go a little bit more fancy, I would say the next level up is looking at this new offer count or like the review count. All right, so let me turn this stuff off up here so we're not distracted. Down here. So the new offer count is how many other people are selling it. So we can see right now, as of today, only one person selling it. A couple days ago, there's 2. A couple days further, about a week ago, there was about 4. And we're averaging over the course of the past year, we're averaging between 1 to 5 sellers. Now, there is a spike during Q4, and there's definitely going to be a spike after I share this video. I apologize if this is anyone else's replan. This was a replan of our own, so I'm sort of ruining it for myself as well. But you can see when we go into Q4, yeah, it'll pop up to maybe 10, 13, 14 sellers, but it always goes back down eventually. All right, so not too many sellers. I'm usually not too worried about the number of sellers. I'm more worried about a spike in sellers. So for example, if I scanned this on December 25th and I saw 13 sellers, be like, okay, that's not too many. But then I would see just like a month earlier, it had 3 sellers. Like, all right, so there's a lot of people jumping on this. The laws of supply and demand tell me the price is probably going to go down. So let's actually, let's compare. So we're looking up here now at this pink line. We can see, oh yeah, back here there was like a day where it was $32. All right, so it hit $32, and probably what happened is this made its way onto a leads list. And once it was on the leads list, we went from 2 people selling it to 12 people selling it. And then what happened after that? Well, it went from averaging, 32 for that day, but averaging about 25. Well, the price started to go down. I'll zoom in here. You can see the price slowly going down because people are trying to get the buy box. They're trying to get their sales. So it goes from 25, 24, 24, 23.99, 23.70, 22, and it keeps going down. And as people sell out, sometimes it'll jump up and do all that. So like you can see here, it goes from 7 to 6. And right when that happens, it jumps from $21 back up to $25. So you'll see that sometimes. So yeah, I'm more worried about a spike in the number of sellers than I am the total number of sellers. If there's consistently 100 sellers on it, that usually doesn't scare me off, unless like 2 weeks ago or a month ago, there was 10 sellers. If it goes from 10 to 100, yeah, I'm not about that. If it's always been about 100, yeah, that's probably not a huge deal. Let me show you something else that's interesting about this. So let's see, I'm gonna use this one as my example. All right, so this has 15 sellers on it. But when you look at those 15 sellers, something else to keep in mind, sorry guys, I'm rabbit trailing here. This is no longer necessarily about Keepa, but this is good beginner information. All right, when you're looking at the seller count here, what's better, 15 people with 1 or 2 in stock, or 1 or 2 people with like 50 or 100 in stock? Well, really, it's the second one is worse. One person having a ton in stock is worse. So this person has 142 in stock, and they're probably going to be hogging quite a bit of the buy box. The next guy up has 40. That's a fair amount as well. And these are big sellers. It's 15,000 ratings. This is a big seller, guys. Bigger than most people in this group, probably almost everyone in this group. So yeah, big seller, big corporation is doing that. These people, these are small potatoes. This guy has 1 in stock, 6 in stock, 2 in stock, 5 in stock, 3 in stock. So keep that in mind when you see like 100 sellers. it's not 100 sellers that all have 100 things in stock. It's probably about 5 people who have 50 to 100 in stock, 20 people who might have about 10, and then 70 people who have like 1 or 2. All right. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're looking at this stuff. The other interesting thing that you can do after we are sort of past the very, very basic thing is the review count. Okay. So if you are looking at an item and you're like, oh, you know what? This doesn't have any sales rank. Let's pretend that that this green bar doesn't exist. And you're like, oh, well, I probably shouldn't buy it since it has no sales rank. What you can actually do is look at the review count and see, okay, well, obviously customers have to be buying it because the reviews are going, like, if something is getting reviewed, it's being purchased. So just by some deductive reasoning, we know that this is being sold, even without looking at the sales rank, even without seeing any reviews up there, anything like that. We know that this is selling. So it goes from 25 reviews from last year up to 1,000 this year. So has this sold? Yes. Has it sold a lot? Yeah, like a ridiculous amount. I would say if we take the guesstimation of like every 100 sales equals 1 review, then 1,000 sales times, or sorry, 1,000 reviews times 100, this has likely sold 100,000 times since January of last year. So in the past like 24 months, it sold 100,000 times. That's a ridiculous amount of sales. Now, these are all very rough guesstimations. I don't want you to take that as like, well, Nate says it sold 100,000. We're just guesstimating here based on some common knowledge. But yeah, so that's sort of what we're looking at. That's sort of the basics of Keepa. Again, you can do this all from your phone as well. We have a video on our YouTube of how to integrate Keepa with, let me stop sharing my screen here. We have a video on our YouTube. It's like a minute long of how to integrate Keepa with your inventory lab or with your Scoutify. It's super easy since almost everyone here is using. Yeah, so that's really easy. If you guys have any questions or any, or any ASINs that you want me to look at in the chat, you can post those. I'll post a link. So this is ASIN Zen. This is that thing that was on my screen, like that calculator that was embedded in Amazon. It's a paid tool. I use it a lot because I do a lot of giveaway. But yeah. Let me see any other links I need to drop real fast. Let me do a link to Keepa itself in the chat in case you guys don't have Keepa. And there's also a cool, a friend of ours put together a quiz. So Chris Grant is doing like a whole Keepa class course thing. It's really good. I've gone through it. It's good stuff. But even I'm not even talking about like joining that. Just take his Keepa quiz. Let me post a link in chat. For those of you guys who are not newer sellers, it was pretty eye-opening to go through the quiz and see like, okay, how much do I actually know about this tool that I use like all day, every day? And it was pretty interesting. And then if you get 100%, you get his little Keepa deep dive class thing completely free. If you get 100%, it's completely free. So definitely check that out. Check out the quiz. All right, let me see. We've got Burley here. Flash from the past. Awesome. He said, if you're a beginner, listen to every word. And then his best investment was the Replan Workshop. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. If you guys are interested in that, it's thereplanworkshop.com. All right, JD3D, what is up? Burley asks, when you compete with Amazon, are you OA, RA, or wholesale? Yes, all of the above. That's how I source is irrelevant to if I'm competing with Amazon. I don't really understand how that would have any relevance. Yeah, I guess I don't really understand where the question comes from, why that would make a difference, how I'm sourcing it. Judy just made a new Amazon seller account to get started. Stuck in the purgatory. Any tips? So when you say new, do you mean like, hey, I just started Amazon and I'm making an account? Or do you mean I had some accounts, they got shut down and I'm now making a new account? If it's the second, I wouldn't bother. Amazon's going to catch on. And yeah, Fix your first one. If you're brand new to all of this, if you're stuck in identity verification purgatory, my tip is just be patient. It'll take a little bit. You can send them some emails and remind them, but they'll get around to it eventually. All right. Any other questions about Keepa or ASINs you want me to look at? I'll give you guys like a minute. If not, we'll hop off. I might come back on tonight and do like a more advanced Keepa thing for you sort of intermediate or larger sellers. Because I know this is really basic stuff. This is just 101. Burley, wholesale cheaper buy cost so you can compete. Well, the thing is, see, the wholesale OARA is irrelevant. Is it profitable? If it's profitable, then awesome. So it's not like a cheaper buy cost is wholesale. And actually, honestly, RAOA is usually a cheaper buy cost because you can get stuff on clearance, which is usually lower than the wholesale costs. Wholesale is more for bulk, not necessarily for discounts. But again, we're going back to, is it profitable? If it's not profitable OARA, then I'm not buying it. So it has nothing to do with me like competing or not competing with Amazon. It's this is not profitable, which is why I'm not buying it. So it's not like I'm not competing with Amazon. It's I don't want to lose money, so I'm not going to buy it because it doesn't make any money. That's sort of the mindset. Yeah, it's like if you're thinking, man, I keep finding this stuff and Amazon's on the listing and they're listing it for $6. Okay, that's a bad listing. That's not like OARA wholesale is not the answer. That's not a good product. Amazon's probably not even making any money on it. It could even be a loss leader for them. They're just kind of bring people to Amazon and get them off of other things. So yeah, only buy stuff if it's profitable. And that has nothing to do with competing or not competing with Amazon. Let's see how we could quickly, what? I'm not quite sure what this person, someone asked a question from our Facebook group. Not quite sure what you're asking. If you could rewrite that. So yeah, love the game. Awesome, thanks, man. All right, I'll stay on for just a little bit more, maybe till like 11:30, and then hop off. So yeah, if there's any other questions, again, so check out the that Keepa quiz. It's super cool. Yeah, there was a lot of things in there like, I actually didn't know that's how it works. So definitely check out that Keepa quiz. It's free, and then I get your answers as well because I'm gonna be trying to go through this week and do a lot of sort of Keepa stuff, and we'll be talking about like Chris Grant's new class and all that. But I want to give you guys trainings as well, just for free, like here on our YouTube, here on Facebook, all of that as well. And taking this class, I'll be able to see the answers, and I can sort of better tailor what I'm teaching. Some of the quiz stuff is stuff that's like important to know, and some of it is just sort of like interesting, like, I didn't know that. But yeah. I guess my wrong thought process was that wholesale puts you in a better position. Yeah, I think that's the wrong thought process because how you source something is irrelevant. Is it profitable? If it's profitable, then awesome, compete with Amazon. If you've got room, like let's say you are profiting 50 cents and Amazon is on the listing and they've been on the listing forever and you're like, I don't know about this, just do a test buy. Some items it'll work, some items it won't. Sometimes you have to undercut Amazon by like $1 or $2 and you don't have that sort of budget. And that's not necessarily, that has nothing to do with how I sourced it. That has everything to do with the numbers. So yeah. What's the channel about? We sell on Amazon. I teach people how to sell on Amazon. I was a teacher for a long time, like a public school elementary teacher. And then I wasn't making enough money. So we started flipping stuff on Amazon and we started killing it. And then we killed it some more, and then we killed it some more, and we eventually quit all of our jobs. At this point, I'm sort of just managing the business. I'm not even doing it anymore because we've hired people and outsourced and scaled. I mean, we're 7-figure sellers at this point. So yeah, we're sort of reaching back and just showing people, here's how you flip stuff on Amazon. Here's how you make money. So awesome. Welcome to the channel, man. Let's see. I am stuck in OA good deals. Please give me some tips on how I could get good products for purchasing. It's really, so there's not this magic formula for finding products. It's just putting in the work and putting in the grind. If you're watching someone like on YouTube and they're like, this is the trick, this is the secret, this is how I find everything. They're either lying or they're trying to sell you something very specific. If they're like, okay, you have to use tactical arbitrage or you have to flip stuff from eBay to Amazon, which don't do, by the way, if you've seen those videos pop across your screen. Yeah, there's not one way. You just put in the grind. There's lots of different methods. I'll probably come back on tonight to talk about some ways that you can use Keepa to source stuff, but that's just one method. I mean, there's 100 different ways to do this. There's so many ways to make money with Amazon. My way isn't the only way. I'll try to teach you as much of the different things as I can, but yeah. If you're stuck, I would say you could join like a leads list or something like that to get ideas from. I think leads lists can be decent. Now, there's a lot of crappy leads lists out there, guys, by the way. But if you can get yourself into a good one, and we've got some recommendations like in our Facebook group and BOLO groups, things like that. There's a lot of crappy ones. There's a couple of good ones. We've tried to sift through everything to bring you guys the best or the good ones. But yeah, so what I would recommend is get something like a leads list or something like that, and then look at where they're purchasing stuff from. So for example, maybe you see on your leads list, oh, we're selling this, I don't know, this blender from Kohl's. And there's all these notes like, okay, you got to stack this coupon with that coupon, with that coupon, with that coupon. All right, so now that you understand a little bit that you need to stack the coupons, now go to Kohl's and look for other similar things. Instead of just buying what's on the leads list and then thinking like, okay, this leads list is good or this leads list is bad because I'm not making money, instead of just using them at face value, dig into them, figure out where they're sourcing, how are they finding these deals, where are they finding the deals, all of that stuff. So yeah, just put in the time, put in the grind. A lot of it is literally just manually sourcing. It's literally going to like Kohls.com, looking up clearance or looking up their big sales, and then just copying and pasting names. So we've done a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. If you're watching, it looks like you're commenting from Facebook. If you go to youtube.com/c/hustlebuddiesofficial, watch some of our older OA things where I'm like doing OA live with you and showing you how I'm doing it. Watch that because I give you lots of different ideas and lots of different methods. So check that out. It's a good place to start. It's free. I'm not trying to like upsell you on anything. So let's see. I started on Amazon, got into eBay. It's way easier, but I know Amazon is able to go. Yeah, like eBay and Amazon. eBay is good for like cash flow. It's good for sort of doing things on the side, but it's significantly more difficult to scale. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. I know people who are doing eBay at scale, but it's like a whole different beast trying to do that at scale because you're shipping everything yourself. So you need a warehouse. You need all sorts of employees to do it. You're going to need like lots of stuff to do eBay at scale. To do Amazon at scale is very easy. Myself and many other people like from our channel, in our Facebook group, which by the way, if you're not on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/hustlebuddies. So check that out, man. But there's a lot of people that are like 7-figure sellers doing it from their house, in their garage, with their kids, no employees, or maybe like one person who's like helping pack stuff. It's much easier to scale Amazon because you could just throw everything in one box instead of eBay where it's like, okay, one package there, one package there, one package there, one package there, one package there. It's okay, let me put 1,000 things into 3 boxes, send it to Amazon one time, and then Amazon ships out those 1,000 packages to 1,000 different customers without me doing anything. So the profit is a little bit lower because you're paying for that service, but you've got more eyeballs. There's much more traffic on Amazon than there is eBay. So you can do both. It's not like an either or, and they serve slightly different purposes. I didn't want to do eBay at a large scale myself because it takes too much time, takes too much space. I don't have time. I don't have space. So it wasn't quite my jam. I'll do it with like my bad buys and stuff, but that's about it. So awesome. Alrighty, I think that is it for now. I will probably be jumping back on tonight. I'm not sure when yet. I gotta figure out a little bit of my schedule, but I'll be posting about it in our Facebook group when I'm jumping back on. And I'll do another video tonight where I go a little bit deeper into some like sourcing with Keepa and some more advanced things that you can do with Keepa. All right, awesome. Thanks for stopping by, guys.